you know, they will stick with Graham Potter even if Chelsea aren't in the Champions League next season.
Yeah, he seemed keen to stress his job title during his media briefing yesterday and say that as head coach, he didn't get too involved in the business of deadline day. That's kind of above my pay grade. You'd hope that the head chef would have a say in the ingredients. Carl McCauley and Paul Winstanley have followed him from Brighton to oversee Chelsea's recruitment. There's a technical director, Christopher Weibel, there, who's arrived from RB Leipzig, and then of course there's Todd Bowley, and if he fancies a player, then I dare say Chelsea will sign him.
It's interesting, you've got a couple of boys that have followed him from Brighton, and their big list of players that they've looked at over the last years at Brighton, throw that away now. You're at a different supermarket. We're in Waitrose now, my friend.
Graham Potter was speaking to the television cameras in the build-up to kick-off here at Stamford Bridge tonight. He says, nobody can see into the future, but we've tried to sign players of a certain profile. If you look at the age of the players we've brought in, they are here to compete now. And I guess that shows you the message that has come from Chelsea in terms of what he needs to get out of this group of players. In the opposition dugout, Marco Silva having a fantastic season with Fulham, 7th in the Premier League right now. They can move into the top 6 with victory tonight. What kind of approach do we see from Fulham this evening, do you think? Because they're going to have to settle this crowd down early.
I commentated on their very first game of the season back in August for Talksport, and I remember Marco Silva saying on the eve of that stirring draw with Liverpool that the club were running late on recruitment, and I think Fulham fans were fearing the worst back then. I think Fulham's owners were mindful of the cost of the 11 new players that they signed ahead of their previous Premier League campaign to no avail. And as it was, Fulham did bring in another 11 new faces before the September deadline. But this time, the overhaul of the squad's been a roaring success. And I can't think of a better balanced team in the Premier League. They look like they've been together for 5 years, Stuart.
They certainly do, and they're getting the most out of their centre forward. I think in time gone by, they played a brand of football that didn't deliver the ball into the box to Mitrovic. That certainly weren't the case last year, and you've seen the goal return from him last year and this year, playing to his strengths.
Well, the players are making their way out onto the pitch to a familiar tune here at Stamford Bridge for a West London derby. The atmosphere is getting right up there. Flames are being shot into the air. It could be tonight a new dawn for Chelsea, a catalyst to take this club back to where it believes it should be, European and English champions. Everything about the club at the moment signals that intention, but Fulham have European dreams of their own. They would love to spoil the party by doing the league double over their West London rivals for the first time in their history. Live and exclusive Premier League action right here on Talksport, and a massive derby match, Chelsea versus Fulham in the Premier League, with England World Cup defender Stuart Pearce and Clive Tilsley.
Well, someone at Chelsea didn't enjoy that defeat at Fulham a fortnight ago, because since then they've spent about £300 million on trying to put things right. Bit of an overreaction to a derby defeat, but it's been just like the old days at Stamford Bridge recently, the old days when Roman Abramovich bought Claudio Ranieri and Jose Mourinho, pretty much anyone they liked, Shevchenko, Crespo, Veron, Ballack, Drogba, just put them on our account. Titles and cup finals followed and have kept on coming ever since. What Chelsea don't want is a return to the old days of the mid-table finishes of the mid-90s. Todd Bowley's not having that. That's not what he bought. Whether Graham Potter has got everyone that he liked and wanted, well, we may have to wait for his book to come out in order to find out exactly who drew up the Chelsea wish list, who did the buying and indeed the selling. Recruitment at Chelsea was a thing of mystery during the Abramovich years too, but while players and managers regularly came and went here, so did the trophies. It is a unique football model that just got a little more unique during the transfer window. Graham Potter has been given enough pieces for 3 or 4 jigsaws, but has he got the right pieces to complete this jigsaw? Because Stuart Pearce, that is the key to management. It's great to have a wealthy owner who'll buy you players, but you want the players that you want.
You certainly do, and those players have got to gel together. So they've got a wealth of talent here, Chelsea. There's no doubt about that. I'm just looking as well. They've got 3 players from the academy, which, you know, is commendable as well. But you've got to make sure they gel right, and you've got to get results at clubs like this with outlay like that. You've got to get it right very quickly.
Fulham could afford a quiet January this year, with only Cedric Suarez and Sasa Lukic topping up the resources. Neither of them figured tonight. The starting 11 has hardly changed all campaign. They already have more points and more goals than they managed 2 seasons ago. It's 13 years since the newly promoted club gathered more points from their opening 21 games. Survival, that's pretty much looked after already. Quick run through the 2 lineups before kick-off. Chelsea, we think, will play 4-3-3. Arrizabalaga in goal. James, Thiago Silva, Badiashile and Cucurella. Then Gallagher, Fernandes and Mount in midfield, with Ziyech, Havertz and Mudryk up front. Fulham, Leno in goal. Back 4, Tete, Diop, Ream and Robinson. Harrison Reed and Joao Paulinho in midfield. Then Bobby de Cordova-Reid, Andreas Pereira and Willian in front of them, and behind Alexander Mitrovic. It is a proper derby. You could walk from here to Craven Cottage in half an hour. Probably take you longer to drive, actually. It's less than a mile and a half between the 2 grounds, much closer than Old Trafford and the Etihad, much closer than Ibrox and Parkhead, but miles apart, worlds apart on spending power and public profile. Still neighbours in the Premier League table, just 2 points ahead. Fulham of Chelsea. Fulham in their traditional white shirts, black shorts, black socks tonight, playing from right to left, as Stuart and I watch on from the antique East Stand here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea defending the shed in the first half and defending a throw-in which Kenny Tete will take for Fulham, about 15 paces from the corner flag on their right-hand side, in towards Mitrovic. Well seen by Thiago Silva, a looping cross from Harrison Reed, and an easy catch for Kepa Arrizabalaga. Just looking at the way that Chelsea have lined up, and I think 4-3-3 is about right, Stuart, yeah?
Yeah, it is. As I say, Fernandes is playing point down on the 3, with Gallagher just advanced to his right, Mount advanced to the left, and it'll be important that Enzo ends up sitting in there and making sure he allows freedom for the likes of Gallagher and Mount that like to go and supplement Havertz.
Chelsea, as we heard before, are odds-on favourites to win the match. Fulham are not only 2 points but also 10 goals better off this season. They beat Chelsea just 3 weeks ago down by the river. The table never lies. Fulham are officially the best team in West London right now. And by the way, Brentford are the second best, but a Chelsea win would change all that before bedtime. 6th place in the Premier League is available for this evening's winners. Enzo Fernandez finds Reece James with his first meaningful pass. James sprints forward onto a ball down the line from Hakim Ziyech, and Willian, once of this manner, sprints back with him and concedes a throw-in. It's 15 metres from the corner flag that Chelsea are attacking on the right-hand side. James takes it short to Havertz, back to Fernandes again, ferries the ball on simply, quickly, into the path of Badiashile. Now Cucurella, down that left-hand side where Mudryk has started for Chelsea. Back with the left-footed Badiashile on the halfway line. He exchanges passes with Mount and then goes square to Thiago Silva. Forward towards Gallagher, and it's found away past Joao Paulinho to him. And Mason Mount's attacking, and Mudryk's inside the penalty area, and Mount's gone on the overlap, and Mudryk just asked a little bit too much of him. But some bright thinking from Chelsea in their first attack. Yeah,
it certainly was. Fantastic ball by Silva through the lines, which left Fulham at full stretch when Gallagher got it beyond the midfield, and from that moment on it looked some slick passing. Just looking at, sorry Clive, just looking at Willian tracking back James there early on in that attack, and it'll be important he does that tonight.
Talksport Friday night, live and exclusive Premier League commentary from Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. Fulham on the attack, coming down their right-hand side with Kenny Tete. Crossed into the box towards Mitrovic. They're not frightened to do that from deep. Thiago Silva heads it away. It's cleared only as far as Willian. Anthony Robinson takes over, just in from the touchline on the left-hand side. Ziyech goes back with him. Robinson couldn't keep the ball in play. It is a throw-in to Chelsea on their right-hand side. Just to confirm the shape of their midfield, Enzo Fernandez is sitting deep with Gallagher to his right and Mount to his left. And then Mudrik's on the left wing, Ziyech is on the right wing, and Havertz is playing down the centre. It's a back four. Cucurella at left back to Badiashile. Alongside him, Thiago Silva, square of him, midway through his own half. James now the right back, just inside his own half. Gallagher ahead of him. Comes back to James once more. He's been nursing in the injury for the last 4 months, Reece James. Just one appearance at Christmas, but he only completed 50-odd minutes in that game. Cost him his place in the England World Cup squad and maybe Gareth Southgate's team. Ziyech on the attack, halted by Robinson on the edge of the Fulham penalty area, and Ziyech's attempt to win the ball back trips Anthony Robinson, and a free kick to Fulham. We know all about their shape. They play 4-2-3-1, and Andreas Pereira's really profiting in that number 10 role this season.
Yeah, he's a good technician. As I say, he's come to this club and they love him here at Fulham, and he's had a wonderful season so far, and he's sort of yin and yang really with Mitrovic. Mitrovic is that big old-fashioned centre forward who wants it in there, and he's more of a technician just operating behind him.
Just a stoppage in play while the referee consults his fourth official, Jared Gillard, over something. Stuart Atwell is the man in charge out in the middle today. Michael Salisbury is the man in his ear at Stockley Park. Fulham have made their way down the left-hand touchline into the Chelsea half for another throw-in, which Robinson takes to Willian. All the way back to Diop, preferred to Tosin at the heart of the defence tonight. Fed forward to Harrison Reed, out to De Cordova Reed on the right-hand touchline. Harrison Reed back to Tete, and once more Diop is available inside his own half, and he plays it square to Tim Reed. Out to the left-hand side, and Robinson, who will gallop forward down this touchline at every opportunity. Ziyech trying to stay with him, but Robinson has swept past James here. He's into the dead ball line, couldn't quite keep it in. I think he was impeded by James, and I think that's the reason that he couldn't quite reach the ball.
Yeah, you're spot on there, Clive. As I say, James used his experience and cut across the face of him, almost giving a free kick away, but that was enough to take about 3 yards out of him, and he couldn't get there. He's another one who's had a really good season, I think, Robinson. And he can be a bit loose defensively, but what he gives you going forward is super.
There was some Manchester City speculation surrounding Anthony Robinson on deadline day. His third season at Fulham, his second in the Premier League. The regular USA left back over the last year and more. The tall, strapping, galloping Anthony Robinson. He's defending at the moment as Ziyech tries to come forward. Little exchange with Havertz that doesn't come off. We've had 7 minutes at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. With Now Sports, you can stream all the Sky Sports action like this game live right now for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports. Fulham again making headway down the touchline, but this time the throw-in was initially awarded to Chelsea by the assistant on this side, Darren Cam, but he's been overruled by the referee, and Fulham have another throw-in right in front of the two managers in their technical areas, and Robinson again will take it just inside the Chelsea half of the field towards Mitrovic, nudged on into the path of Willian, but he's tackled by Enzo Fernandez, who then gives it away to Mitrovic. Fernandez wins it back again. 2 tackles in quick succession from Chelsea's record signing. Ream clears the danger. Joao Paulinho on the halfway line, seemed to be brought down, but managed to offload to Mitrovic. Then he's caught in possession. Sharp pass by Mount, gets it back from Havertz. Mount through towards Mudryk. He had Cucurella available to his left. Fulham managed to cut it out And instead, De Cordova-Reid now can lead a counter-attack down the Fulham right, just inside the Chelsea half. Tete takes over. He was being impeded by Mount as he tried to bite back at him. And Fulham will have a free kick midway through the Chelsea half on the right-hand side, and words exchanged between Tete and Mount.
Yeah, I think it's really important. You touched on it earlier, Clive, the make-up of that central midfield three for Chelsea, but I think either Mount or Gallagher has got to get up and support Havertz as quick as they can, if not go beyond him, just to disrupt the two central defenders of Fulham.
Free kick is 20 metres inside Chelsea territory, right-hand side. De Cordova-Reid will take it, takes it short to Harrison Reed. Willian comes looking for the ball and then feeds it out to Pereira on the right-hand side. Pre-rehearse and a good crossing position and a really good headed clearance by Enzo Fernandez, who without the ball has been excellent so far. Palhinha, though, keeps this attack alive. Cucurella has to head away, helped on by Mount. Ziyech escapes, but Fulham surround Mudryk and win it back, and Willian makes headway down the Fulham right. Checks level with the edge of the penalty area. Comes back to Kenny Tete. Again swung in towards Mitrovic, and that comes off Thiago Silva for a Fulham corner on the right-hand side. They don't need a second invitation to cross it, Fulham.
I was just going to make that point, Clive. You know, it's quite refreshing to see a team put the ball in the box on a regular basis. Admittedly, they've got a centre-forward in there that enjoys heading the ball, but you see so many teams get into critical areas and check out and come back.
More goals from set pieces, corners and crosses than any other team in the Premier League this season. Fulham have a corner on the right-hand side. Andreas Pereira will take it. Willian is available for the short one. Two centre-backs have come forward to augment the aerial presence of Mitrovic. He's just been wrestled to the ground by Enzo Fernandez, right under the nose of the referee. Pereira trying to cross, way off the ball there. Fernandez just wrestled Mitrovic to the ground. And I can't believe Stuart Atwell didn't see that.
Well, there's someone in VAR that can certainly pick it up, but when you look, we've not seen it back again, and it was out of my eye line slightly. I was following the ball, but you do know full well that Mitrovic has got nothing to gain by wrestling Enzo to the ground.
Enzo Fernandez took a big chance there. Maybe a change of culture. Maybe that's okay in Portugal. Well, it seems to be okay with VAR here in West London on this particular instance, but it looked obvious to me. Throwing is taken to Mitrovic, edge of the penalty area. Harrison Reed tries to gather it. Mount comes between them. Looks to pass it out to Mudryk a little perilously. Cucurella goes long instead. Ream waits for it. Heads it forward. Fulham still on the attack, but Mudryk gathers the ball. Then he's tackled by João Palhinha. Tete wins the throw-in off Enzo Fernandez, who's certainly been involved from the outset. Tigerish in the tackle. Mudryk trying to clear his lines. Mount, João Palhinha, who's no shrinking violet when a challenge is on either, slides in and wins the ball. Throw-in taken by Cucurella. It's 0-0 at Stamford Bridge. Badiashile trying to find a way out. Mitrovic all over him. Free kick to Chelsea down by the corner flag on the left-hand side.
Yeah, just reviewed that last corner with Fernandez and Mitrovic, and probably wasn't a lot in it. I think Mitrovic sort of started the grappling, and then all of a sudden both of them collapsed to the floor.
Enzo Fernandez last game was just 8 days ago. He was back in action for Benfica 12 days after the World Cup final. He did then start to cause a few issues with the club in search of a move. He did go back to Argentina for a few days, and he made it clear that he wanted out when Chelsea came with the money. Gallagher coming forward for Chelsea, just outside the Fulham penalty area. Tossed in towards Mudryk beyond the far post. Tete did enough against him and hooks the ball forward down the field. De Cordova-Reid tries to head it on, but Mount has got it back for Chelsea. Back to Badiashile on the halfway line. Square to Thiago Silva. Out to Reece James now, right-hand side, coming forward for Chelsea. Ziyech wants to take over. James just plays a short pass to Ziyech, who then sells James short, and Robinson is able to get in with the challenge. Throw-in goes Fulham's way. And Chelsea are contesting that decision too. But it is a throw-in to Fulham. But certainly Enzo Fernandez has not tiptoed into his Chelsea debut. Whenever there's been a challenge to be made, he's been right in there.
Yeah, he certainly has. Being charged with dealing with Mitrovic from potential set plays is no easy feat.
He's 22 years and 17 days old. Only came to Europe in August, only made his international debut in September. He has been fast-tracked into the position that he finds himself tonight, with so much attention on him. But he doesn't look overawed by it in any sense.
I think when you've picked the World Cup up a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago, you won't get overawed by too much, to be honest.
Well, you came a little closer to that than I did. But yeah, I take your point. Thiago Silva has the ball for Chelsea. Played out to the right-hand side of Reece James, midway inside his own half of the field. James crosses the halfway line now, but tentatively, Fulham have plenty of cover. Comes back to Thiago Silva. Fernandes offers himself, carries the ball on quickly. We saw that in the World Cup. He's not a player who takes too many touches. One to control, one to pass, and he's found James in a terrific pass. And James into the penalty area. Ziyech is just offside. But the range of passing was maybe a question mark, because most of the passing I saw him do in Argentine colours was short and sharp, but that was a nice long ranging pass.
No, it's a magnificent pass, to be fair. Got the absolute right accuracy, right weight on the ball for James advancing. And when you're getting passes like that as a fullback, you don't want to break your stride. In fact, you'd rather stretch for it. That keeps you on your momentum, if you like.
No team has won more Premier League games since the World Cup break than Fulham. Chelsea, one of their 4 victims in the 6 games since the resumption, but they have lost their last 2, both narrowly, to Newcastle and Tottenham. Momentum is everything for a newly promoted team in this league, and they don't want to lose it altogether. We're a quarter of an hour in here at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. We're live on Talksport, one of 3 live Premier League commentaries that we have for you this weekend. Everton versus Arsenal and Wolves versus Liverpool to come tomorrow. On the ball is Thiago Silva, out to the right-hand side, and Ziyech midway through the Fulham half of the field, cuts in field and then swings it in towards the head of Mudryk, and Leno is very alert, scampers off his goal line to collect the cross very, very cleanly. There is a goal in the Championship match which is taking place at the Hawthorns tonight. West Bromwich Albion versus Coventry City. Abby Davis.
Yeah, and it's the Baggies who've taken the lead after 15 minutes from a long throw-in on the right-hand side. It was flicked on for Dean Garner at the back post, who prodded home his 4th goal of the season. So the Baggies have a deserved lead, 1-0, 15 minutes gone.
West Brom will climb into the top 4 of the Championship with a victory this evening. West Bromwich Albion 1, Coventry City 0. Here at Stamford Bridge, live and exclusive on Talksport, it's Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. We have nearly 17 minutes on the watch. Thiago Silva has the ball. We haven't had a clear chance for either side as yet. Badiashile, 15 metres inside his own half, coming back to Thiago Silva again. The oldest player in the Premier League this season, but looks set to renew his contract here past his 39th birthday next September. Rarely rested, either by Thomas Tuchel or now Graham Potter. What a model professional Thiago Silva is. And with all this young talent coming in to the squad, 1 or 2 key senior professionals are going to be so important for Graham Potter.
You certainly need those role models, those schoolmasters in the dressing room that youngsters can look up to. I know some of the young players this day and age, Clive, are rounded individuals, but certainly you still need role models that you look up to and they know how to conduct themselves.
Good ball from Badiashile forward. Mount out to Cucurella on the left-hand side. Mount just outside the penalty area, tries a shot blocked by Diop. Headed forward by Gallagher. Have a fancy that Havertz might be offside. Ream tries to get away. There is no flag. Ream clears it down the field. But Chelsea win it back through Thiago Silva. Forward by James. Gallagher out to the right-hand touchline and Ziyech. Back to James again. Thiago Silva Sweeps it into the path of Badiashile.
This is what he's got to do better, Badiashile, is when he gets the ball, he's got to advance with the ball quickly. He goes forward and then it's almost, I don't trust myself, stop the ball, come back or play short.
It's his third game for Chelsea tonight. Gallagher coming forward. Out to the right-hand side and Ziyech in a crossing position. Cuts inside onto his left foot. Enzo Fernandez now in the heart of the Fulham half. Square again to Mount. Out to the left-hand side and Cucurella. Mudryk back to Mount. Fulham have gathered a lot of cover. Chelsea seeing a lot of the ball. Enzo Fernandez certainly. Again, two-touch on to Thiago Silva. In towards Havertz, just trying to touch it past Leno, who made a save with his foot. There is a flag out against Kai Havertz. I don't think it would have stirred. It would have been reviewed, of course. But Bert Leno made a smart save with his right foot.
He certainly did. I thought he was going to bring it down, Clive, to be fair, and take a touch, bring it down, but he's decided to just sort of skim it round the goalkeeper with his left foot, and the keeper done very well.
Talked about Fulham's momentum. Chelsea had momentum back in the autumn. It's easy to forget that Graham Potter was unbeaten in his first 9 games in charge here. 5 wins in a row in October. But 5 defeats in their last 9 Premier League matches have changed the gear and the mood. And they're under pressure here as De Cordova-Reid comes forward for Fulham. Halted by Badiashile. Just 7 goals in the last 11 Chelsea games. No Premier League team has scored fewer in that period. They are stuck in a very public rut, which they need to get out of tonight if they possibly can. Fulham still coming forward with Willian. His pass though is careless. Picked off by Mount. Ream managed to win it back for Fulham just at a moment when it looked as if the visitors might be exposed. And Diop goes forward to De Cordova-Reid, who invites Tete to run into the penalty area now. Kenny Tete, low cross, hooked away by Badiashile. 3 white shirts waiting. Good counter-attack from Fulham.
I'm looking at 2 players in their respective teams here, in Fernandez and Paulinho, and they've both done sterling jobs. Fernandez, what he's done on the ball in the main. Paulinho just breaking things up when he's had to.
Nobody's made more tackles in the Premier League this season than João Paulinho. £20 million, very well spent, to Sporting Lisbon in the summer. They'll know about each other, Paulinho and Fernandez. I'm not sure if they're going to see a great deal of each other. What Paulinho is going to see is a yellow card, because he's just made a tackle which Stuart Atwell didn't like. And so João Paulinho, who has seen yellow once or twice in his career in England, is the first booking of the night. He is combative, isn't he? He's a big guy.
He is. He covers the ground, and as I say, he has to get across sort of the width of the box in the main to break things up. And as he's shown there, went to ground, just mistimed his challenge, I think.
6'3". He figured for Portugal in the World Cup finals. But he has slotted into this team as if he's been around for a while. But I have to say, you wouldn't think, if you were just coming in here and been off the planet for a week, that this was Enzo Fernandez's debut, because with a quarter of the night gone, his first 20-odd minutes in the Chelsea shirt have been very accomplished. He's looked very much at home, both in his surroundings and amongst the players that he's playing with.
He's been arguably as good as anything that's on the pitch at the moment, Clive, that's for sure.
Thiago Silva has the ball for Chelsea. It's 0-0. We're live on Talksport. Fired forward via the head of Gallagher into the path of Ziyech. Comes back to James. 15 metres outside the penalty area. Ziyech again on the touchline. Chance to run at Robinson. Goes back to James again. He'll cross this time. It's charged down by Willian at the expense of a corner kick to Chelsea on the right-hand side in front of the Matthew Harding stand. A corner which Hakim Ziyech will take. What must be going through his mind? He looks set to leave the club on Tuesday, albeit on loan, but to Paris Saint-Germain. Good luck with getting into that front three, incidentally, if the deal had gone through, but I don't know. The fax machine broke or something. The Ziyech move couldn't be completed, and here he is in the starting 11 tonight. He'll take the corner from the right-hand side, in towards the near post. where it's headed away by Tim Ream, only as far as Gallagher. Back out to Ziyech again, and he's come back from an offside position, and Fulham will have a free kick just outside their penalty area. Is it a smart move putting Ziyech back in when you nearly got rid of him, or not?
It's an interesting one. As I say, I think a decent conversation needed to be had. You know, I don't know the lead up to, look, we're looking to loan you out, and I certainly don't know the lead up to, we've missed the deadline, son, by the way you're playing.
Hakim Ziyech starts tonight. 3 changes to the Chelsea team that last played a fortnight ago at Anfield. They've lost Jorginho since then. Badiashile called in to action on the edge of his penalty area, hooking the ball away. Cucurella forward, well seen by Joao Palhinha, fired into the edge of the penalty area, hit by Pereira, and a really good save, diving to his right by Kepa Arrizabalaga. Got hold of that, Andreas Pereira, just set up for him on the volley, full-blooded strike, and Kepa had to get down very quickly to his right. Fulham corner, left-hand side.
Yeah, really well worked there. So it went out wide, and it wasn't a cross in the box, but it was a cross on the floor to the edge of the box, and a good, smart save by the goalkeeper.
Pereira will take the corner that he won. Curled into the near post, flicked on rather audaciously by the heel of Tete, but he didn't have enough control on it, and it ballooned over everybody and out for a goal kick. And Kepa will complete a good piece of work by taking that goal kick. He has been Graham Potter's first choice when fit. Played more games already this season than in either of the previous 2. Edouard Mendy is actually injured at the moment, but you feel as if he's been superseded as the senior goalkeeper here now by Kepa Arrizabalaga. That's not to say that Chelsea won't try and buy another one, of course. Harrison Reed has the ball for Fulham. It's 0-0, and it's back with their goalkeeper, Bert Leno, who was outstanding in that victory against Chelsea last month at Craven Cottage. Fulham have ferried the ball forward down their right-hand side via Tete to Harrison Reed. Always busy, all action. Steered forward to Mitrovic. His pass to Palhinha wasn't the best, and Chelsea have won it back. But they are midway inside their own half with Thiago Silva.
What they haven't done, Clive, is get the ball out to Mudryk on the left-hand side, have they, really? It's all been down this right-hand side or central for Chelsea, and he's... I'm not sure. You know, it's probably 10-15 minutes since I've seen him touch the ball.
Chelsea have got a rather cheap free kick right in the heart of the Fulham half of the field. It's Chelsea 0, Fulham 0 on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. They're called Ever Reed, trying to get back and help out. Has helped Chelsea to a free kick in a position of some promise. Probably a little too central to be ideal. Enzo Fernandez, bleached hair, hands on hips, standing over the ball. It's quite a diminutive figure, maybe 5'9". Takes it square to Cucurella, back to Fernandez again. Can't get enough of the ball. Joining up all the Chelsea pieces already. Thiago Silva forward, blocked by Willian, goes out of play for a Chelsea throw-in. About 15 metres inside the Fulham half of the field. James guides the ball into the centre circle. Benoit Badiashile out to the left-hand side, and now Mudryk does get the ball. Cuts in field. Drives it in towards the edge of the penalty area. A little bit too hot for Havertz to control, and it rolls off the Chelsea striker through to Bert Leno. Havertz has led the attack in all 8 games since the World Cup. Chelsea signed everything but a centre forward last week. Is number 9 his best position, Stuart?
I don't think so. I look at him and I think Chelsea are short. Yeah, he's a decent player, he's okay, but I don't see him as a clinical number 9. I really don't. And probably watching João Felix play the time that he did last time out, or whenever he played last, you could see that they were a better team with him.
Yeah, he played at Fulham actually, but got sent off, and that's why he's still out, suspended. Chelsea on the counter-attack. Mount with a square ball, which is some ambition, but cut out by Robinson, and now Willian has been fouled by James, and Fulham have a free kick just inside their own half of the field. I did rather playfully before the game name a team of Chelsea players who are not involved at all tonight. It went Mendy, Loftus-Cheek, Azpilicueta, Fofana, Hall, Zakaria, Kovacic and Kante, João Felix, Aubameyang and Pulisic, with Broja and Nkunku on the bench. 13 players, most of whom you will have heard of, not involved tonight, either through injury or choice or suspension in João Felix's case. Cross from Tete in towards Mitrovic, one in the air by Thiago Silva. Chelsea haven't cleared their lines though. De Cordova-Reid, halted by Cucurella. Here's Tete just outside the penalty area. His cross is charged down well. Mudryk is helping out, but he's given it away to Palhinha. Harrison Reed, square to Tete, 20 metres outside the penalty area. Has to go further back to Issa Diop. He brings it forward rather nervously, didn't look as comfortable in possession and gave it away to Cucurella. Fernandes returns it to the shaggy-haired left back, and he plays it long down the field where Diop wins it in the air. And as far as Enzo Fernandez, coming forward now and feeding it square to Conor Gallagher. Tries to run past Willian, who does very well inside his own half to tackle up and get the ball back for Fulham. Gallagher felt he was taken out after that by Mitrovic, who tackled back. Palhinha goes forward to De Cordova-Reid. Referee Atwell happy for Fulham to continue attacking, even though Gallagher is still down. It's crossed into the penalty area, chested away by Thiago Silva, and then Pereira is late on Enzo Fernandez, and it is a Chelsea free kick. Gallagher is back on his feet. I don't think it was the initial challenge which hurt him. I think Mitrovic came back and sort of bumped into him. Gallagher's looking a bit shaken up at the moment, but he's going to be able to continue.
Yeah, just rolled the left ankle, I think, in the secondary challenge that come in. You've got to look at Fernandez's performance so far tonight, and he does everything almost textbook. When you're looking from up at this advantage point, you can say, where should the pass come, what should he do, and he does everything that's textbook that you would want of a player.
He's a young man in an old man's role. Usually you see those centre midfield pivots as players who maybe played elsewhere on the field at different stages of their career and have kind of settled in just to a role where you don't necessarily do a lot of running, but you do a lot of passing, you see a lot of the ball, but you control the pace and tempo of your team's performance. And Enzo Fernandez is doing that, 30 minutes in to his first performance for his team, and he's doing it at just over 22 years of age. He's played a lovely pass here, forward towards Mount, edge of the penalty area, Havertz with a chance. He was stretching and couldn't quite catch up with it, knocked it wide from Mount's cross, but at the heart of that move, Enzo Fernandez.
Certainly, he just emphasised our point, really. It was absolutely magnificent. Ball got played into him, he had time available behind him. You're looking from up here thinking you should turn there. He does exactly that and delivers a ball in behind the back line. He's certainly an old head in an old head on a young shoulders, no doubt about that. Probably the opposite to myself, Clive, you know what I mean? An old head on a very young body.
I mean, for the money that he's paid, he's not explosive, he's not going to run away from you, he's not going to out-jump you, he's not going to dribble past you, he's not going to score a bag full of goals, but what he might just do is control the way the other 10 players on your team play. He is already looking that influential.
You know, the biggest commodity or the biggest crime you can do in football is give the ball away, and that's the one thing he doesn't do.
I think you, as a coach, respect a player who recognises what he can and can't do and concentrates on doing the things that he can do as well as he can do, yeah?
It is that simple, honestly. But you see so many players that attempt to do stuff that is so beyond their means, it's ridiculous. And then when they make a mistake by doing that, what do? They go chasing it, trying to do something even more outlandish instead of going back to basics.
Chelsea coming forward, a long hopeful pass down the field, and Havertz has reached it and turned it towards goal. I think Ream felt that Havertz had eased him under the ball. Referee didn't give a free kick, it is a goal kick. Havertz didn't make the most of the opportunity, but he had a better opportunity a moment or two earlier, Kai Havertz, after Fernandes had played Mount in and he'd squeezed in a low cross. And it rather teased Kai Havertz. He was racing into the penalty area, trying to get there, but at full stretch he couldn't quite guide it goalwards. Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. The latest odds are available from Ladbroke at this moment. Chelsea to win 4-5, Fulham to win 9-2, or you can back the draw at 2-1. Those odds are from Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com. You must be 18 or over, and do be aware of begambleaware.org, a website with good advice and guidance to help you manage and enjoy your gambling. But it's finely balanced as both the scoreline 0-0 and the odds suggest.
You can't help thinking when you see the talent that's been at the front end of Chelsea's team over the last 2 decades, the transformation that someone like Drogba potentially playing in this team would change the whole dynamic of it. And that's no disrespect to Havertz.
Yeah,
or is it?
I'm not sure there's been a better centre forward in the Premier League era than Didier Drogba. Alan Shearer might have something to say about that, and there will be other candidates too, but Drogba was exceptional. Fulham are coming forward with their centre forward, Mitrovic, who hasn't seen too much of the ball tonight. Halfway line, he's had to come deep in order to look for it, plays it back to Tim Ream. But Fulham have pretty successfully kept Chelsea at arm's length so far. That Havertz chance we were just discussing is probably the best opening that either side have created. And Fulham have carried a threat on the break, and the best save of the game so far has been made by Kepa Arrizabalaga from Andreas Pereira, who's on the ball at the moment, trying to make headway through the traffic in midfield, but he runs into Enzo Fernandez, who wins it and feeds it to Ziyech inside the Fulham penalty area. Wild effort on his unfavoured right foot, ball running away from him. But I'm going to say it again, and there's a little bit of a bromance building between Stuart Pearce, Clive Tilsley and Enzo Fernandez. He was excellent again then.
I've got a feeling the club shop will be selling out of those shirts very, very quickly. And there'll be a few people wanting to chop in their Jorginho shirts, I think, that they bought.
Number 5, Enzo, it just says on his back. We'll call him Fernandez. He's not quite so good that he can start to pick his own nickname. But he's on the ball again, and he's found a blue shirt again. Gallagher on towards Havertz. James swept out towards the left-hand side where Mudryk waits, heads it into the penalty area. Harrison Reed heads it out of the penalty area. Cucurella waits for Chelsea, gathers the ball on the touchline, backheels it towards Mudryk, but it's poor. Andreas Pereira feeds Tete, accelerating over the halfway line. He's gone away from Fernandez this time. Tete now up level with the edge of the penalty area, crossed in towards Willian, heading down. Mitrovic couldn't quite turn, and Thiago Silva sorts it out, but that was a sweeping Fulham counter-attack, and that time Enzo Fernandez could do nothing about Kenny Tete getting past him, and Willian almost set up Mitrovic.
Yeah, Cucurella very loose in Fulham's final third, to be fair, with his back heel, and from that moment on it was Tete with a wonderful run and cross, and really unfortunate that Willian couldn't redirect his header.
It looked like the perfect reunion for Mark Cucurella when Graham Potter came in, but he's started 3 of the last 4 games on the bench. Recalled at Liverpool a fortnight ago. Graham Potter sold him for 62 million last August, just 1 year after he'd signed him from Getafe. He really did develop it at Brighton, but he's been in and out at Chelsea. Fulham are coming forward again. It's still 0-0. Did Cordova-Reid poked in towards the edge of the penalty area, but beyond Mitrovic, and Chelsea calmly played the ball about and looked to set up another attack with Benoit Badiashile. Driven out to this right-hand side, and Ziyech, just inside his own half, controls the ball, plays it back to Reece James. Graham Potter did say in his media briefing yesterday that James didn't have 90 minutes in him. So we'll be interesting to see how long he lasts tonight. Fernandez played a rather more ambitious ball that time and actually found a white shirt rather than a blue one. Gallagher, though, charges down an attempted pass from Paulinho and wins the ball, but it rolls out of play for a Fulham throw-in midway inside their own half. I've got lots of words buzzing around my head to describe Fulham, and the one that's coming out to the forefront is accomplished. They just look very much at home in the Premier League. They don't look like a newly promoted side that's just trying to stay up, trying to finish 4th from bottom. They look like a team that has been around in the Premier League for a while. Here's Reed coming forward for them to Dick Cordova. Reed driven into the edge of the penalty area. Pereira on towards Mitrovic. It just escaped him, but it was another slick move from Fulham. Chelsea trying to counter. Mount forward towards Havertz. And Ream back to Diop. They're a great credit to Marco Silva, aren't they? They look very well coached.
Yeah, I've got a friend that works in Fulham and, you know, who's been around the game a long time, and speaking with him sometime before Christmas, and he's suggesting that Silva is probably one of the best he's ever seen work, you know, and he's seen a lot of coaches and he knows the game.
Bernd Leno said some very positive things about him in an interview in a German newspaper last week. Said he's very, very demanding, gets the maximum out of the players, but he feels that Fulham have, from the beginning of the season, played bravely, tried to play the way they wanted to play, Marco Silva's way, and they've come back into the Premier League full of confidence after 5 years of ups and downs. They're not going down this time. They've got nearly enough points already to stay up.
I think you've got to give credit to Fulham, Brentford and Brighton that are at the top echelons of the league and playing very good football.
All above Chelsea and Liverpool, as things stand. Chelsea can change all that with a victory tonight. 6th place is on offer for the winner of this game. We've got 6 minutes of the first half remaining. We're live and exclusive on Talksport. And it's Chelsea 0, Fulham 0.
This is what I was talking about, Badashile. He picks the ball up and he's got no intent in advancing and committing anybody. And if you don't do that, you don't get an overload on that side, and then you starve Modric of the ball.
And Fulham have won it back and they're coming forward. Mitrovic retaining possession inside the centre circle. Out towards Andres Pereira, but it's a little too strong for him and rolls out for a throw-in. 3 more live football commentaries on Talksport tomorrow. No bigger game in the Premier League tomorrow than Arsenal's visit to Goodison to take on Sean Dyche's Everton. That game's exclusively live from 11 tomorrow morning, kick-off 12:30. Over on Talksport 2 you can hear the leaders of the Championship in action. At the same time, Burnley are at Norwich in the lunchtime game from 12:30. Then from 3, Talksport 2 has exclusive live commentary of Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Liverpool from Molineux. That's all tomorrow.
Just looking at Badashile there, he's frustrating the life. He's the key to this for Chelsea, but he stands, he plays static, and everyone else is marked up. So it's 3v3 on the far side of the pitch, and he's the spare one. But if he doesn't advance, he doesn't commit one of the 3.
Yeah, left-footed centre-backs are at a premium, and one of the advantages is having a player who can naturally bring the ball forward down that side of the field. He's 21 years of age. It's only his 3rd game for Chelsea tonight. Certainly Graham Potter is showing some faith in him, considering the options that he has at centre-back. Chalobah and Koulibaly, Azpilicueta all on the bench tonight. Benoit Badiachil, who was in the French World Cup squad, is the partner of choice for Thiago Silva. Still 0-0, just over 3 minutes of the half remaining. Mitrovic with a header which has fallen for Enzo Fernandez, and he plays it back to this man Badiachil again. He's always looking to pass the ball, and Fernandez offers himself, gives it back to Badiachil, but again he's got 15 metres ready to run forward into over the halfway line, and he doesn't want to go there. No,
it's not that he doesn't even want to go there. He plays backwards. He doesn't even play sideways, and that, unless he starts to advance with the ball, then Fulham will say, well, you can have the ball all day.
Yeah, sometimes as a coach you almost target the opposition player you would most like to have the ball, and talk about that beforehand, do you?
Of course you do, and he's one. If you're going to turn around and say, look, he doesn't advance with it, so just what they've done is basically picked up. So they got Pereira around Fernandez and said, you mark him out of possession, and then from there Mitrovic can stay around Thiago and just leave Badiachil with the ball. And he's not advanced with it. If he starts to advance with some form of pace, all of a sudden it's a chain of effects there. Someone's got to step out and deal with him, and then all of a sudden a chain of events happen.
Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. Fulham on the attack. Cross from Kenny Tete with his left foot is cleared, but Fulham have another throw in about 25 metres from the corner flag that they're attacking on their right hand side. Tete will take it. Pereira offering him an option on the edge of the penalty area. It's De Cordova-Reid though, and he exchanges passes with Tete and hits it against Gallagher, but it hits De Cordova-Reid on the ricochet and goes out of play this time for a Chelsea throw-in down by the corner flag that they're defending on the left-hand side. As I say, the winner would go 6th tonight. Fulham's best ever top-flight finish is 7th. That was under Roy Hodgson back in 2009. They're the dizzy heights that they are reaching under Marco Silva. The latest attack is broken up by Enzo Fernandez, but then Kepa Arrizabalaga's clearance was an awful one, right to a Fulham player, but with enough velocity that he was unable to control it. And no harm came to Chelsea, but it could have done. Fernandez forward to Havertz, gets it back again and feeds it square to Ziyech over the halfway line. Palhinha cuts that out. Mitrovic halfway line, played back to De Cordova-Reid, skillfully done. Forward by Palhinha. One back though by Badiashile. Little layoff from Mount. Ziyech, hook forward, and in goes Havertz. He's inside the penalty area, lofted over the keeper, turned off the line by Diop. No flag, it would have counted. Closest we've had to a goal. Kai Havertz lob over Leno, but Issa Diop sprinted back, got to the goal line, and as he collided with the frame of the goal, hooked it clear, and it's still 0-0.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's hooked it or it's hit the post and come away, but either way, he had a lot of room there, Havertz.
The flag wasn't raised by Darren Cann, who's one of the very best on the near touch line. He was definitely onside, and as he hooked the ball across, it actually strikes the post. Diop's there guiding the post. I don't think it would have got past Diop, but it was the post that actually came to Bernd Leno's rescue. It was a very well crafted lob by Havertz. I don't know, it might just have slipped in before Diop got to it.
Yeah, I think Issa would have been a mile off it, to be honest. But as I say, it's that threat in behind. Chelsea have played that ball a couple of times, and it was a good run on that occasion, that's for sure.
So, Kai Havertz denied by the goalpost. It remains 0-0 in the West London derby. Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. But Havertz by far the closest to changing that with that lobbed effort. A crashing challenge by Cucurella on Bobby De Cordova-Reid is the last action of the first half, in which Chelsea have asked most of the questions, have had most of the ball. Enzo Fernandez has had an outstanding debut for them, just by doing the very simple things well, winning the ball back, using the ball quickly, using the ball accurately, occasionally very imaginatively. He's been one of the outstanding performers on the field. But Fulham continue to carry a threat on the, and I think Marco Silva will be reasonably pleased with what he's seen from them at half-time. Nothing to choose between these two near neighbours. It's Chelsea 0, Fulham 0.
Well, the Chelsea fans came here hoping to see lift-off after that huge spending spree of the January transfer window, the kind of performance their mid-table Blues, and have them looking up the Premier League table. As yet, it isn't that kind of party, Stuart Pearce. It's been feisty, it's been an end-to-end derby, but probably more commitment than quality.
Yeah, I think there's certainly been some quality within that, mainly from Fernandez. I've got to say, I've been very, very impressed with him. I think Cucurella's got to do more, and Badiashile have got to do more to get Mudryk the ball, because I think he's being starved to the ball at the front end on the left, and he'll be very frustrated with what's happened. And probably from Chelsea's point of view, Reece James looks like he's a player who's easing his way back into, and you can understand that.
Kai Havertz lacking as a focal point. Heard the name Didier Drogba mentioned in first half commentary. He's a world away from that, isn't he? He had a huge chance just before the break there, lobbed Leno in the Fulham goal, hits the outside of the post. Should he be scoring that?
Listen, he's hit the post and it's come back out. He'll say he's unfortunate, but the answer to the question is yes, he should have done. If you're going to break the deadlock in tight games like this, and this is a tight game, you've got to probably score those.
Lack conviction. It's a club, Chelsea. It's not just his performance. You look at Hakim Ziyech in that first half as well. Okay, Mykhailo Mudryk has just arrived at Chelsea, not really involved on the peripheral. That front three is maybe an indication as to why Chelsea are where they are right now, because the cutting edge just isn't there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. As I say, I think they've been starved on that left-hand side. Havertz has had one that over the top that he's had a flick at, and Leno done okay. But once again, you say potentially should have done better. And the other one, and Ziyech has been really disappointing. I think probably the most disappointing of the three.
We may see changes at the break in that area of the pitch. Enzo Fernandez watch. You've got to say the most expensive player in British football is the best player on the park so far.
Well, if I was his manager, I'd be walking down the tunnel now and saying, well, thank goodness for that. We've paid in excess of 100 million, but my goodness, if this is anything to go by, you can see why they've paid it.
Kepa had a great save, really, from Andreas Pereira on the volley from the edge of the box for Fulham. What have you made of their first half? Clive Tilsley on commentary describing them as accomplished. They've looked pretty comfortable.
They have. They're well organised, well drilled. They got some good performers in there, and I think this division this year are going to underestimate Fulham at their peril. You know, they're where they are in the league, rightly so. And to be fair, that they understand how each other play, and you know, they like to put the ball in the box when they possibly can, and that is a real threat for them.
I think a goal would change the flow of this game completely. As yet, these two teams really feeling each other out. Neither could dominate the game. Huge chance for Kai Havertz just before the break, but it is level here at Stamford Bridge, goalless between Chelsea and Fulham in a West London derby in the Premier League. Live action in the Championship tonight takes place at the Hawthorns. Half-time there, Abigail Davis.
Yes, West Brom 1, Coventry 0. Relentless from the hosts, with chances aplenty for a baggy side that worked incredibly well in and out of possession. But at half-time, it's only Grady Diangana's goal separating the two. They first gave Coventry a scare when Diangana played a lovely ball over the top for Townsend on the overlap. From the byline, he scooped the ball into the area. Wilson came to collect, fumbled, but Malumbi's shot was blocked. Moments later, Albrighton, who's actually looked 2 steps ahead of everyone on the pitch all game, whipping in a delightful cross from the right. Coventry failed to deal with it at the far post, but DK's header from close range was over the bar. They continued to press and probe and hit the post when Albrighton played a clever ball in behind for Malumbi to run onto. He squared it to Wallace, whose shot rebounded off the post. There was a bit of a goalmouth scramble before it was cleared. The home side then finally broke the deadlock. Moments later, a long throw-in flicked on for Diangana at the back post to prod home, and at half-time, it's a dominant West Bromwich Albion who lead Coventry by 1-0.
And heading up to 5th in the Championship table. Abigail Davis, thank you very much. Here at Stamford Bridge, a win for Chelsea would take them into the Premier League's top 6. A draw for Fulham would be enough to take them into the same position. At the break, live and exclusively in the Premier League here on Talksport, it is Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. The second half is next.
Game day countdown live on Talksport with Now Sports. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Chelsea versus Fulham live tonight for $11.99. No contract. Search Now Sports 18+. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
And he's barrelled it straight through the midfield into the Village Hotel Pub and Grill Fan Zone, the home of big screen live football. A long volley over the stadium seats by the giant screens into the left-hand corner of the bar, past a winning lineup of ice-cold beers and a magnificent menu of mouth-watering footy food. Result! Enjoy the perfect big match experience with food, drink and live football at a Village Hotel Pub and Grill Fan Zone at 33 UK locations. Find your nearest venue and win monthly prizes, including match tickets at villagehotels.com/fanzone. Get in! Conditions apply. 18+. Always drink responsibly.
This football season, get a hand from Betfair's popular Bet Builder and easily add our fan favourite football selections to your bet slip in just one tap. And you can get a completely free £2 Bet Builder on any Premier League game this weekend. Now that's handy. Betfair.
Max 1 per customer. Minimum combined odds of 1.5. Opt-in required. T's and C's apply. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
We've got it at Selco. Selco is where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals and a wide range of trade quality building products. In February, we've got 8mm V-Groove Vario laminate flooring for only £7.95 per square metre ex-VAT. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com.
Got it at Selco. Selco is where the trade goes.
That charged at 20%.
Bing bong. Attentions please, attentions please. We got big new news. Just Eat now does grocery delivery. No problemo if you forgot the only thing you went in the shop to buy. Want ice cream for breakfast? Caught the cat licking the butter. So, don't cry over spilt milk. Get it delivered to your door from Just Eat instead. Grocery delivery. We got it.
Did somebody say Just Eat?
Only available from participating stores and selected locations. Product subject to availability. Service charge may apply. See justeat.co.uk for more details.
What does Asahi Super Dry taste like? Crisp, refreshing and always super dry. A taste as unexpected and surprising as modern Japan. That's right, Japan's #1 beer. Asahi Super Dry, beyond expected. Go to asahisuperdry.com to verify. Enjoy responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk to find out more.
The new season is here, and The Times on Saturday has all the big interviews, insightful analysis, and stats you need to set you up for a perfect weekend of Premier League action. Subscribe today at thetimes.co.uk/football for provocative and compelling opinions from the best sports writers in the business, including James Gibbrandt, Owen Slott, and the voice of football, Henry Winter.
Lovely bit of football.
Try it free for 1 month at thetimes.co.uk/football. Auto renews at £26 a month unless cancelled. T's and C's apply.
Friday game day countdown on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. We search a panel of lenders to find you the best deal. Search Car Finance 24/7 today.
Game day. The rousing radio broadcast.
Oh, it's in!
Game day countdown. Live
on Talksport.
Welcome back to Stamford Bridge. Goalless in the first half between Chelsea and Fulham. We're just being entertained by a traditional Chinese dragon dance at half-time inside Stamford Bridge. They're celebrating the Chinese New Year, Year of the Rabbit, ahead of us. So Happy New Year if you're celebrating. Not yet celebrating a goal inside Stamford Bridge, of course. Desperate to see their new signings, the likes of Mykhailo Mudryk, Enzo Fernandez, put on a show this evening and put their West London rivals Fulham to bed. Second half on the way very, very shortly. Before that, let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Jess O'Reilly joins us from Ladbrokes. Pretty even contest so far. How do you see things now?
Yeah, well, Chelsea have easily had most of the possession, but I think it's Fulham who definitely look more dangerous and lethal on the ball. Chelsea's odds have drifted out to 5-6. Fulham have shortened up a touch into 4-1. The draw is fancied at 7-4 and is definitely proving a popular bet with punters right now in this first half. If there is to be a goal in this game, and I think it does need one, for me, Mitrovic is still the value play to score next, or well, to score the first goal of the game at 9-2. Kai Havertz certainly playing better than Ziyech, who's having a bit of a stinker by all accounts tonight. He could and should have scored just before the break. He's 4-1 to open the scoring, which is the same price as Mudryk. But there is a little bit of interest in the draw, as I say, at 7-4. And if it's going to be a ball draw at 0-0, that is a 3-1 shot.
Yes, thank you very much. Those were the latest odds with Ladbrokes. You can play at ladbrokes.com. It's 18 plus. begambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Saturday isn't Saturday unless it's game day.
The full-time whistle goes. The boos ring around Goodison Park. Everton lose again at home.
If they can just push that aside for a window and give us a chance to breathe, as I call it, give the team a chance.
Into Nketiah, great turn! Oh, what a finish! Eddie Nketiah! Just like the old days for Arsenal.
For the good of football, I hope Arsenal win it.
Left footed shot towards the far corner. Oh, it's a terrific goal. It's a wonderful goal from Daniel Podence. And Liverpool's season goes from bad to worse. The holders are out of the FA Cup. and Jurgen Klopp's team are beaten on the South Coast, beaten by Brighton again.
It's a start in the second part of the season, and we decide how positive the outcome will be.
Saturdays were made for game day, and all the big games are here on Talksport.
Indeed they are. It all begins at Goodison tomorrow. All the build-up from 11 o'clock tomorrow morning with Reshmin Chowdhury ahead of Everton's game with Arsenal. I wonder what the fans will be like inside Goodison Park. Torn, want to voice their concerns to the Everton board, but want to give their team the best support possible, and a warm welcome to Sean Dyche as they try and escape their relegation woes. And they welcome, of course, the Premier League leaders. That is exclusive for you on Talksport at 12:30 kickoff. At the same time over on Talksport 2, live championship action. Norwich have scored 4 goals in each of their last 2 games. They take on the leaders, Burnley. Should be a great game from Carrow Road. Dan Windle, Adam Bridge and the former West Ham defender Alvin Martin with you for that. 2:30 on Talksport. It's game day live. Of course it is. Adrian Durham's alongside Ray Parlour and Kevin Campbell. All the goals as they go in from across the country, including Manchester United's game with Crystal Palace, Aston Villa against Leicester as well. Remember the classified results coming at 5 o'clock. The 3 o'clock kickoff exclusively for you over on Talksport 2. Liverpool in need of a result. They go to Wolves. They've played a few times, haven't they, in the last few weeks, but you'll hear that one once again. Ian Danta and the former Arsenal winger Perry Groves on commentary for that one. So a busy Saturday ahead for you, but the weekend really starts here at Stamford Bridge. I'm not sure we knew what to expect this evening, and I'm not sure, Stuart Pearce, we have really got an answer for either of these teams, really. I mean, in terms of Chelsea, Graham Potter has had 13 days since their last match to work with their players. Do you see a more settled style, settled structure here?
I think they're playing okay, but if you strip away the names of the teams and what they've paid for their players and all that type of thing, and look at the league table, you're probably getting a tight game, and that's exactly what we are getting here. I've got a feeling there's a change coming from Chelsea. I might be wrong there. One of the boys.
I can see the board being grabbed by the fourth officials. I don't know which team will be making a change. If there is one, what would you like to or expect to see if it is Chelsea?
Well, I think Ziyech is still on, isn't he?
Yeah, I can see him.
Mudryk, I'm not seeing at the moment. Now, I can only think that's an injury situation. Yep, he's not on the pitch at the moment.
And we can't see who's going to replace him, but him coming off, maybe the likes of Noni Madueke, it could make his full debut here for Chelsea. Also, of course, Raheem Sterling on the bench. How could Sterling change this game?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not Sterling.
It looks like it is Madueke. We can see him putting on his shirt. Of course, the former Tottenham youngster gets a huge opportunity here after his move from PSV Eindhoven to Impress. Another one of the new names for Chelsea that we will see here tonight at Stamford Bridge as they try and get a big 3 points against their West London rivals, Fulham. The second half for you, live and exclusively on Talksport. The former England defender Stuart Pearce alongside Clive Tildesley.
Noni Madueke is left-footed, usually a right winger, 21 next month. Just the £29 million to PSV Eindhoven, where he spent the last 4 years or so. But he is a Londoner. He was originally with Crystal Palace and then Tottenham in his youth. He's an England under-21 international. He's had 1 or 2 injuries in the last year or so. His season didn't start until mid-October, but his Chelsea career starts tonight. His last game was 3 weeks ago. Willian with an early shot for Fulham, who are now playing from left to right as we look on. Chelsea attacking the shed end of Stamford Bridge. And that is the one change. Madueke is going to play from the left-hand side. Ziyech will remain on the right-hand side. No other tactical tweaks from Graham Potter at the break. And it's been goalless, closest we had to a goal, almost the last action of the first half, when Kai Havertz's lob struck the Fulham upright. Chelsea trying to come forward with Gallagher, but it's broken up by Joao Paulinho, who's on a yellow card, but he's not exactly holding back, as Ziyech will testify, because he's gone down in a heap. And, Paulinho and Enzo Fernandez, different builds, certainly different profiles, but they do a similar job for their team. They're very much the anchor in the midfield who sort stuff out, bring other people into the game, win the ball back. Mitrovic forward for Fulham towards De Cordova-Reid, who caught Cucurella a rather untidy start to this second half. Free kick to Chelsea just inside their own half of the field. Taken by Enzo Fernandez to Thiago Silva over the halfway line and out to the right hand side, and Ziyech fed into Gallagher, immediately engaged by Ream, played out to the touchline and Reece James, and Chelsea are forced back. Badiashile all the way back to Kepa Arrizabalaga. Thiago Silva going long this time towards Mason Mount, but stretching, he can't quite reach it, and it bounces through to Bert Leno. That Chelsea defeat at Fulham 3 weeks ago was the first for quite some time. Chelsea had won the previous 7 editions of this derby fixture, hadn't lost to Fulham since 2006. Last Fulham victory here, as Hugh was saying, was actually in the second division back in 1979. Chopper Harris played in that game. The last top flight Fulham win at the Bridge was March 1964, and you're like this, Ron Harris played in that one too. 1964, 1979, he played in both games. And the recently lamented George Cohen lined up alongside Bobby Robson, Johnny Haynes, Alan Mullery in white, Terry Venables, John Hollins, and yes, Chopper Harris were in the beaten Blues team the last time Fulham won a top flight game at Stamford Bridge nearly 59 years ago.
Let me tell you this, Clive. In the summer, I'd done a Q&A that was billed myself and Chopper Harris as hard men in football, okay? And when I turned up, I said, what time's Chopper getting here? He's got a sniffle, he couldn't make it. I said, there's a comedy value there somewhere or other.
Well, he's getting on a bit now. You wouldn't have told that story 30, 40 years ago, not and got away with it.
I wouldn't have said it if he was sat next to me. Make no mistake about that.
Chopper Harris. Tommy Docherty was the Chelsea manager. Bedford Jezard, lovely name, Fulham legend, was in charge of the last Fulham team to win a top-flight game at Stamford Bridge. Well, they're not in front, but it's 0-0. They're in with a chance, and we've had very little action in the first half, which has enabled us to reminisce a little about this famous fixture. Fulham trying to score a league double over Chelsea for the first time ever. Chelsea coming forward with Havertz, loses his footing under pressure from Diop, and now De Cordova-Reid can scamper down the Fulham right-hand side, up as far as the edge of the penalty area, fed in towards Mitrovic, but just in front of him. He applauds the idea of the cross, but it drifts away for a goal kick. Mason Mount, who was dispossessed at the start of that, has just climbed rather gingerly to his feet. He thought he was fouled.
Yeah, just speaking with Hugh there, and we're looking at the tactical nous of Chelsea now. Now, what they've done in the build-up in their own half, Cucurella, instead of staying out wide in a naturalised left-back position, he's coming into that inside position, if you like, just tucking in and coming in, which is fine, as long as it has a desired effect. But he's doing it, and Badiashile is still, he's got one less pass now.
One or two loose passes, and Pereira rather dives in on Cucurella in an attempt to win the ball, and is shown the second yellow card of the day. Pereira and Palhinha have now been booked by the on-field official Stuart Atwell. Yeah, I think part of the reason that Chelsea are trying to do that is maybe to give Reece James more of a wing-back's licence to go forward down the right-hand side, but I sense that Reece James is still working his way through the gears fitness-wise.
Yeah, he definitely is. As I say, you can see he's looking after himself, and this duration that he's been out, you can almost understand that a little bit. I'll be surprised. I don't know what level of fitness Chilwell's at this moment in time, but Cucurella's disappointed me a little bit.
Extraordinary statistics surrounding Reece James. With him in the team this season, Chelsea have got a 75% win ratio. When he hasn't played, 17% win ratio. I'm not sure I would have played ever again. I think I'd have retired at that. First look time we've seen Madueke getting forward, accelerating through the traffic in midfield, trying to feed Havertz. The pass was a little heavy, but Madueke thrilled the Chelsea fans and got a round of applause there. All left foot. Breaking in from the left-hand side, Noni Madueke. On the other side, the distinctive figure of Willian, losing the ball inside his own half of the field. Enzo Fernandez tries to play it forward. Willian cuts it out. It's played now by Reed, early forward towards De Cordova-Reed. Important header by Badiashile. Cucurella forward to Madueke. Midway through the Fulham half of the field, just in from the left-hand side. Still Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. And we've had just over 7 minutes of the second half. Live on Talksport. James is now coming forward for Chelsea. Level with the edge of the penalty area, right-hand side. Fed forward to Ziyech. Crossed in low with his right foot. Ream rather missed out on the clearance, and Diop had to make it for him. And ballooned it high into the far side for a Chelsea throw-in. Quickly taken. On the board is Thiago Silva. 20 metres inside the Fulham half. Looking for movement ahead of him. Feeds it out to the touchline, and Hakim Ziyech confronted by Willian. Crossed in towards the heads. Good header away is by Diop. Helped on its way down the field by Anthony Robinson. And Chelsea must build again from inside their own half with Benoit Badiashile. He goes square to Thiago Silva. Ziyech comes looking for the ball just inside the Fulham half. Angled ball in towards Mount is a searching one. Good header away by Diop. On the ball is Madueke now for Chelsea. Cucurella out to the left-hand side and Havertz. Cucurella again. Chelsea seeing a lot of the ball. Fulham providing a lot of very energetic cover, difficult to play through. James midway through the Fulham half, fed into Ziyech. Your first touch wasn't the best, and then his second gives it away. Robinson had it back momentarily, but James has it now. Gallagher, James in a crossing position into the penalty area, and Kenny Tete defended the far post exceptionally well. Madueke was waiting, and Tete headed behind for a corner. Really good defending.
Yeah, it was top quality, I've got to say, at the far post, but Gallagher just was a bit heavy with his pass, and James has just had to go out wide to feed it back. Good cross, and Tete, top quality defending there, covering off his far post.
Staring into his own goal, ball coming across him. It's one of those situations, horror situations, where a defender can innocently score an own goal, but he managed to turn it wide under pressure, pretty vigorous pressure from Madueke. And Chelsea have a corner instead on the left-hand side, their left-hand side. Conor Gallagher will take it. Floated in towards the near post as a shocker from Gallagher. And it's cleared by Tete. And Chelsea now have a throw-in about 10 metres from the corner flag. Cucurella will take that. Short to Ziyech. Lost control of the ball. Tete can let it roll out for a goal kick in front of the travelling Fulham fans. It remains Chelsea 0, Fulham 0 on Talksport with Now Sports. With Now Sports you can stream all the Sky Sports action like this game live right now for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports.
Yeah, I think after seeing the best part of an hour's football, if you ask me which way to call this game, it's still impossible to tell, Clive, isn't it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea have come closest to scoring through that Havertz lob, which struck a post right at the end of the first half. But Fulham, generally speaking, have carried as much threat as Chelsea on their counter-attacks. De Cordova-Reed forward towards Pereira. It'll run through to James to feed back to Kepa Arrizabalaga. And Chelsea do usually try to play the ball out when they can. Arrizabalaga has chipped one out towards James on the touchline. He was immediately under pressure, though, from Robinson, and he could only head it down to Willian. And Fulham have it back, albeit midway inside their own half now with Ream, and he's had to go all the way back to Bert Leno.
You talk about players that have got game understanding, Clive. Willian knows how to play the game, doesn't he, you know?
Vigorous challenge by Harrison Reed on Madueke is penalised. Yeah, he's been round the block a few times. 7 prime years here, 5 major medals won. Player of the year once for Chelsea. He's 32 now. He's 32 and he left for that ill-fated spell at Arsenal. And he's returned to the Premier League via a stint in Brazil. 34 now. He scored against Chelsea in the match at Craven Cottage 3 weeks ago, albeit with the help of a deflection. And he still seems to have the energy to get back and help out. He's doing that at the moment, although the cross-in is a dangerous one from Ziyech, well dealt with by Fulham, and they play it out quickly again. Mitrovic rather caught in the traffic though in midfield, wanted too long on the ball. Mount has won it from Palhinha, but he's won it unfairly, and Fulham will have a free kick. I mean, you would hesitate to offer any kind of criticism of Alexander Mitrovic to anybody with Fulham at heart, but the players around him are a bit brighter and slicker with the ball than he is, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. As I say, his forte is in the box. His forte is put crosses in and I'm flying. And on the road, you obviously get less crosses coming in the box than you do at Craven Cottage.
Mason Mount just had a cheap shot at Kenny Tete. Temperature just rising a little bit. Stuart Atwell having a word with Mount. I think that was worth a yellow card personally, but because it was vengeful. Didn't hurt Tete, but it was impetuous from Mason Mount. Fulham are taking their time over the free kick. Chelsea have had a lot of the ball in the first 13 minutes of the second half, and Fulham are just taking opportunity from time to time to take a little bit of the heat out of the situation. Poor ball forward by Diop is far too long for Dick Cordova-Reid, and bounces through to Kepa Arrizabalaga. Balled out to Badiashile and played square to Thiago Silva, and Chelsea start to come forward again. And Badiashile played a blind back pass there to Arrizabalaga, which almost caught the goalkeeper out. Chelsea intent on trying to pass their way down the field, and they've done so successfully, but a good challenge by Palhinha again on Gallagher, wins it back for Fulham. Robinson to Palhinha, uses his body well to turn and surge forward. Out to Willian on the touchline, and he bursts in field to the edge of the penalty area. Willian to Pereira with a chance, and that's blocked by Cucurella. One back by Palhinha with a volley, and that's over the top. Pereira had the better chance. Willian set it up with a surging run, and Pereira's touch just let him down at the crucial moment, I think.
Yeah, it was partly his touch, and partly I think Willian put too much on the ball. He just needed to leave it there softly for him to come on and dig one out, but he had to take a touch, I think, and then that touch wasn't clean.
So changes are up for Chelsea. Hakim Ziyech has had a strange week. We mentioned it in the first half. He seemed to be on his way out of the club on Tuesday, at least on loan to Paris Saint-Germain. That broke down. Reece James too is going to get a rest. Aspilicueta is going to come on in his place, and on instead of Ziyech is Raheem Sterling, who's missed 4 games, 29 days with a tight hamstring, and he comes back into the Chelsea picture on the left wing, and Madueke will move over to the right wing. As I say, he's left-footed, usually plays from the right, not in Madueke. I think Raheem Sterling probably prefers the left flank generally, doesn't he?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think he's more at home there, can come in onto that right foot of his.
He has played right wing back and left wing back for Graham Potter. He's played number 9, played number 10, both flanks. You kind of have to be adaptable as a Graham Potter player, and Sterling has been, but I think this is where he prefers to be, in possession on the left-hand side. Played back to Cucurella, and back to Badiashile. Thiago Silva, forward to Aspilicueta, tiptoeing forward down that right-hand side. Madueke, first chance for him to run at the left-hand side of the Fulham defence. Fed back to Gallagher, back to Cucurella, and now Sterling just outside the penalty area. Sterling with a sharp pass in field to Mount. Out to Cucurella on the left-hand side. Fulham cover again, very well drilled, very complete, smothering Chelsea's invention. Mount comes back to Badiashile. Thiago Silva. Madueke now from the right-hand side onto his left foot. Floated into the box, but the header away is by Kenny Tete, and he can chase his own headed clearance, keep it in on the near touch line. Almost lost his footing. And then a foul by Cucurella on De Cordova-Reid. One or two parts of the playing surface here at Stamford Bridge are looking a little bare and parched. There's some brown patches, particularly down in the right corner between the East Stand and the shed. It's unusual to see a Premier League ground looking anything less than pristine.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think we can see it because we're looking directly down on this near touchline to us, but even when you look further across the pitch, I think there are areas where you know it's a little bit disappointing.
We haven't exactly been short of rain, have we, since the turn of the year? Still 0-0. Chelsea in possession, edge of their own penalty area. Chelsea 0, Fulham 0 on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Benoit Badiashile is now bringing the ball forward for Chelsea. Up as far as the halfway line. Need to keep your voice down, Stuart, he's heard you. Here's Raheem Sterling, accelerating forward, play just beyond Mount. Good move though.
Well, the proof's in the pudding. He brought the ball forward and De Cordova-Reid had to make a decision, and he ended up going to him, and all of a sudden there was that knockover that we're talking about, a dominoes effect, and if it wasn't for a bad pass into the box, Chelsea could have got a shot away.
Ever thought of trying to hand a bit of coaching? No?
No, it's no good to me. We're all smart arses up here, my friend, aren't we?
Mitrovic, play to Harrison Reid, forward, Badiashile heads it away and then plays it away. Two clearances from the tall young Chelsea defender. Havertz, Gallagher surges forward over the halfway line. Madueke on the right hand side, but he's beaten to it by Anthony Robinson, who can accelerate forward now into Chelsea territory, and he's got three with him here. Robinson edge of the penalty area, fed in low, Badiashile is there. It was an easy clearance for him in the end. Azpilicueta was caught downfield, eaches Willian under the ball, but Fulham get it back. Andreas Pereira caught late by Conor Gallagher. Free kick to Fulham, 15 metres inside the Chelsea half. First yellow card for a Chelsea player tonight is shown to Conor Gallagher.
With just Robinson's nicked the ball probably about 30 yards from his own goal, and he's launched himself up the pitch, got into the final third or near as damn it of Chelsea, and it was Thiago that come out to front him up, and the cues for Robinson should have been, as soon as Thiago comes out and looks over his shoulder saying, where's the cavalry behind me, as soon as he does that, you've got to say, I'm going to go and take you on.
Yeah, he only took about 10 strides to cover the first 40-50 metres. He's a lovely mover, big, tall, athletic fullback, but his judgment call wasn't the best when he got into the dangerous position. But Fulham have another opportunity. Free kick in an attacking position. Pereira works it short. Now Reid clips it in. Late run by De Cordova-Reid, who gathers the ball edge of the penalty area, looks for a cross on the outside. Havertz is having none of it. Shuts the door and Sterling can come forward, but he showed too much of the ball to Tete. Chelsea retain possession though. Havertz back to Badiashile. Now Azpilicueta. 20 minutes played in the second half. Still Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. Live and exclusive for you on Talksport. Chelsea's dearth of goals in the Premier League this season, a continuing handicap for them. They've come closest to scoring with a Havertz lob which hit a post just before half time, and they have won a corner here on the right hand side, with Azpilicueta making progress down the right hand side and Robinson checking it. Corner to Chelsea on their right hand side. Is this the moment? Chelsea 22 goals in 20 and a half Premier League games this season. They've scored 43 at this stage of last season. 2 goals in their last 5.5 games in all competitions. Gallagher takes the corner towards the head of Thiago Silva. He does win so many of those against so many taller men around him, but he didn't win that cleanly enough to test Leno, and the Fulham goalkeeper has it.
He's a quality act when he goes up for corners. He doesn't make the 100 metres or so distance up for no reason at all. Often gets his head on the ball.
Cleared by Kepa Arrizabalaga towards Sterling, is held back by Dick Cordova-Reid. He hung on to him there for 2 or 3 seconds, and it had to be a yellow card for Bobby Dick Cordova-Reid in an area of the field where he probably didn't have to do it.
Well, he was holding on to him, then you thought, well, he's got to let go in a minute, and he literally never let go.
150th appearance for Fulham tonight for Bobby Dick Cordova-Reid, regular the last 4 seasons. 4 seasons of ups and downs. Turned 30 yesterday, but still an all-action player at right back or on the flank. And he's got a yellow card to his name now, as have Andres Pereira, Joao Palhinha and Conor Gallagher. Arrizabalaga has the ball. Played to Badiashile. Clipped forward with his left foot up towards Sterling. Neither he nor Tete can make contact with it. Diop feeds it forward. Dick Cordova-Reid with a clever flick. Gets it back from Pereira. Right-hand touchline. Cucurella got to him. Knocked it against Dick Cordova-Reid. Chelsea throw. Cucurella goes back to Badiashile, just inside his penalty area. Rather perilous ball. Enzo Fernandez under pressure did really, really well. Managed to ride the challenge from Joao Palhinha and play it back to Thiago Silva. Flicked on by Madueke. Gallagher trying to get forward down the right-hand side. Fouled by Ream. Free kick to Chelsea just inside their own half on the right-hand side. It's been a combative game. I mean, it's not been a tame 0-0 draw. I can't call it an all-action 0-0 draw, because I can only probably recall 3 or 4 telling goalmouth incidents. It's well matched. You'd like to feel that both teams have put so much in that space might start to develop in the closing stages. It might loosen up as a game and we might see some chances. I'm not sure that 5 substitutes per team helps that in the contemporary era, because teams can refuel and refresh in those tiring last 15-20 minutes. But we are now into the final quarter and the game's there for the taking. Still 0-0. Madueke can't cotton onto a pass from Thiago Silva. Harrison Reed down the field towards Willian. He's got clear of Chelsea here. Edge of the penalty area. Willian has support. Dick Cordova-Reid catching up. Steers it goalwards when he might have steered it back to Mitrovic or to Pereira. And Kepa Arrizabalaga makes an easy take. But Chelsea do look exposed occasionally when Fulham break quickly.
Yeah, they do. It's a really good ball there from Willian. He just burst away, and when you thought he was going to slow down, maybe take it in and have a go himself, the cross slightly too far.
Still Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. Live on Talksport with Everton versus Arsenal to come tomorrow. Oh, there's an effort from long range by Mitrovic. Saw Kepa Arrizabalaga off his line. He was about 5 paces inside the Chelsea half, that's all. Alexander Mitrovic. And Arrizabalaga had to scamper back and collect that right under his crossbar. It was a reasonably comfortable take, but the backpedaling wasn't comfortable.
It certainly was, and as you say, it was literally just under the crossbar. An incredible effort.
I mean, Mitrovic, you could probably add together the distance covered and all the other 11 goals that he scored this season, and it wouldn't be quite as long as the range of that effort from just inside the Chelsea half. But it was kept out by Kepa Arrizabalaga. Madueke coming forward for Chelsea. Plays it back to Thiago Silva. Square to Badiashile. Clipped into the penalty area. Raheem Sterling has found space, but couldn't find any kind of decent contact with the ball. Trying to volley it across the penalty area. Totally shanked it. Slipped off the toe of his boot right in front of all the visiting Fulham fans. Slightly embarrassing, to be honest. And it bounces out for a goal kick. He's pretty hard-headed individual, Raheem Sterling. He'll live with that.
Yeah, I think he's proved that over the years, that's for sure. And it's the Fulham fans who enjoyed their little moment there. And it's the Fulham fans who are offering the noise at present.
They've just been offered 1 or 2 moments of hope on the counter-attack, and Chelsea, despite the changes they've made, haven't found any more penetration. Havertz trying to change that. Edge of the Fulham penalty area, bursting in from the right. Look for Madueke. Cut out by Harrison Reed. Hit first time, Enzo Fernandez. Wasn't a million miles away. That was all of 25 metres. Fernandes hit it first time. Leno was scrambling, but it flew across him and past his right-hand post. Missed by maybe a yard.
Yeah, I think Leno would have had it covered and did have it covered. I think he was quite confident. It was all swinging away. I tell you what, it was probably closer. I'm probably giving the goalkeeper a little bit too much credit there. Good effort.
Scored a really good goal against Mexico at the World Cup finals. So he's not a prolific goal scorer, but he has that in his weaponry. But the ball just sailed wide of the right-hand post and into the Fulham fans, who, to a man and woman, immediately broke into an instinctive chorus of "what a waste of money." Bit more about the game now, and it has loosened up a touch. Cucurella forward to Sterling, turns, finds Madueke, 10 metres outside the penalty area. Mason Mount, really good block by Tim Ream. Matt wanted a couple of touches in order to pivot and turn, and Ream saw the opportunity to make a block and concede a corner to Chelsea on the right-hand side. Noisy as it's been tonight, Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, it certainly is. And as I say, what we've been short of tonight is that little ingredient. Either the pass has been too slow, or players have just took too long on the ball to get their efforts away.
Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. Corner to Chelsea on their right-hand side. Conor Gallagher will take it in towards the near post. It's another poor one, headed away by Robinson, only as far as Mount. Gallagher again, right-hand side, and Willian makes a challenge, and Chelsea have to make do with a throw-in about 20 metres from the corner flag that they're attacking on their right-hand side. Club captain Cesar Azpilicueta comes across to take it. Exchanges passes with Havertz. Down by the dead ball line, Azpilicueta. Willian sticking to him. And Azpilicueta it is who concedes the goal kick. Again, very good work by Willian without the ball. There has been talk of him extending his stay with Fulham and another one-year deal being readied for him. 34 years of age, but certainly not short of energy. It's one thing for a wide man like him to run forward with gusto into attacking positions. It's another to run back as quickly when he doesn't have the ball, and he's done both sides of the game very well tonight. Mitrovic trying to head on a long goal kick from Leno this time. It came off Badia's shield. It's gone out for a Fulham goal kick. We're going to see a couple of changes. We're going to see Manus Solomon, the Israeli international winger for Fulham. He's going to take the place of Bobby De Cordova-Reid. Chelsea are readying David Fofana, another new name. Before that, Fulham bring on Solomon. And here comes Fofana for Mason Mount, not to be confused with Wesley Fofana, the French defender who's back in training after injury. This is a 20-year-old forward who hails from Ivory Coast, has come to Chelsea from Norwegian football, from Molde, and he is on as the substitute. Tete takes a throw in forward towards Mitrovic. Ball drops for Harry Wilson, who's also just come on, but a poor cross from Harrison Reed. Let's catch up on that championship match which is taking place at the Hawthorn tonight. West Brom versus Coventry City. Abby Davis.
Yeah, 71 minutes on the clock. It's still West Brom who lead by 1-0. Coventry have certainly been brighter and asked more questions of West Brom in this second half, though, looking to get the ball forward quicker. But it's West Brom who've come the closest to scoring, having won the ball back high up the pitch. Yakushlu looped the ball over the top for Dike, but Wilson did well to deny him. It's still West Brom 1, Coventry 0, 72 minutes gone. It's
Willian who's gone off to make way for Harry Wilson. So Fulham have freshened up on both flanks. Wilson playing left-footed from the right-hand side. Solomon from the left-hand side. And Chelsea have got Fofana now operating down the centre. So Havertz has got a new position now in a more withdrawn midfield role. And we'll see if David Fofana has got enough about him to maybe fill the biggest gap in this Chelsea side as a central front runner. It's Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. The latest odds are available from Ladbrokes. You can get Chelsea to win at 2-1, Fulham to win at 15-2. The draw is now favourite 13-8 on. Those odds are from Ladbrokes. You can play at ladbrokes.com. You must be 18 or over. And as I always say, but please do be aware of begambleaware.org and pay a visit to that website. 0-0 is the scoreline. We have got 14 minutes left to play, a little less than that now.
They almost look, Chelsea, as though they've run aground a little bit, don't they? Yeah,
it feels as if one goal will win it, that's for sure. Gallagher with a cross on the right-hand side. You understand why a manager makes changes in search of a new formula for a breakthrough, but with so many new faces now, maybe some of the cohesion has gone. Gallagher entered the penalty area, but Ream thumps it away. There's so much cohesion about Fulham. They're so well organised, so familiar with each other now, familiar with the system, what's being asked of them. They're difficult to break down. Thiago Silva going long towards Sterling, but Tete's cover is excellent. Harry Wilson's touch is not. He's lost out to Cucurella. Back to Enzo Fernandez. Not quite as influential in this second half, but he's had a very, very tidy debut for Chelsea. Gallagher spinning in the heart of the Fulham half. Good pass, picked out Havertz. Now to the right-hand side and Madueke. Into the penalty area, Ream jabs away. Gallagher! Just wide. Only just wide. Hit from 20 metres first time by Conor Gallagher. Actually rippled the side netting, but just wide of Leno's left-hand post.
Yeah, as I say, the ball come across. Once again, one of those balls never arrived on the money. When it come out to Gallagher on the edge of the box, you've got to turn around and say he'll be very disappointed with that. 20 metres out, running onto the ball, you've got to hit the target.
Goal kick which Leno will take. Fulham play again next Wednesday night. They've got a testing FA Cup replay at Sunderland to negotiate. Then they are at home to Nottingham Forest a week tomorrow. Here goes another opportunity. Oh, and a great opportunity, and Ream has knocked it off the line. Fofana was in there. It's a bad mistake by Bernd Leno, who came racing out and was marooned, and Fofana was in. And either originally, very coolly, control the ball, sidestep the goalkeeper, and then sidestep Diop, but Ream got back between him and his target and made heroic goal line clearance. The corner is taken low and poor, and Robertson is able to clear it. Fofana didn't do a great deal wrong there, did he, Stuart?
I thought he was magnificent, to be fair. I thought Leno was going to get sent off for one moment, coming out his box, then Diop's dived in. He's done everything right, but Ream has got back and done a wonderful job for his team.
Well, Havertz hit a post in the first half, but that's probably the clearest chance we've had so far. And it fell to David Datro Fofana, who I think a lot of people thought would sign and then go out on loan after his move from Norway. He had 2 years there. Scored a lot of goals for Molde last year in the Norwegian season. He is a natural in front of goal. And he actually went about the opportunity in a very calm and composed way. But Ream's defending was fantastic.
I think when you look where Fulham have probably looked vulnerable in these first 80 minutes, is those balls over the top of their back line. Havertz has got in twice now, and on that occasion Fofana's got in as well, and that looks the Achilles heel of this Fulham back line.
Helped by the recklessness on that occasion of Bernd Leno. Free kick to Fulham though, which Pereira takes into the edge of the penalty area. Badashil wins it in the air. Harrison Reed tries to keep it alive. Raheem Sterling tries to clear. Anthony Robinson is there, high into the air, headed forward by Cucurella. Tete is underneath it, halfway line, dispossessed by Havertz, and here comes Cucurella, but Harry Wilson is back there covering. It was a loose ball from Cucurella, who's starting to get a bit of stick from the home fans. Robinson surges forward, finds Reid inside the Chelsea half of the field. Harrison Reid angled beautifully out towards the left-hand side, but Azpilicueta is there to prevent it from reaching Solomon. But it does reach Mitrovic, and now Solomon can run at Azpilicueta, edge of the penalty area. Guided back to Joao Palhinha, tries a shot with his right foot, which is charged down by Enzo Fernandez. Tete trying to make progress now for Fulham. Down the touchline towards Harrison Reid, down by the corner flag. Cucurella engages him. Fulham have a throw in by the corner flag. Still either side could win this. Still both sides trying desperately to win it. But it's 0-0.
You get a feeling there's not much love for Cucurella around the stadium from the Chelsea fans. Got a little bit frustrated with him.
Well, the spot for choice now with the options. Ben Chilwell's on the bench, but has been out of action for a long, long time. Tete, forward to Harrison Reid, tries a cross which is charged down by Enzo Fernandez, rebounds back off Harrison Reid and goes out for a goal kick to Chelsea. Is there a winning goal to be found in this game? 2 points separate them in the Premier League table coming in to the weekend. A draw would move Chelsea up 1 place above Liverpool into 9th place. It would move Fulham above Brighton into 6th. But both teams are looking and hoping for maximum points still. Cucurella is looking for Sterling, handed off by Tete. It wasn't the best of passes again by Cucurella. A real wrestling match going on between Sterling and Tete. The referee, I think a little controversially, has found in Tete's favour, because he was the one who was just literally keeping Sterling at arm's length, very physically. Can you do that?
Well, he done it, and he got away with it, to be fair. He was just holding him off. He's like a boxer, just staring at Sterling, and Sterling sort of had enough of it. There's a lot of fans pleased to see Chilwell coming on now.
Yeah, Ben Chilwell has replaced Marc Cucurella.
I'm not sure it's the popularity of Chilwell or the lack of popularity for Cucurella.
Well, I think there's a bit of sympathy too for Chilwell. He's been out with a hamstring problem for 3 months. Yellow card here for Marco Silva for something that he's said, and he's incandescent with rage about that. So Chilwell out for 3 months, missed much of last season too. There were rumours about him and Manchester City at the deadline time too, but he's seen so little action. He's got to re-establish himself really for Chelsea first and foremost, and he's on now with an opportunity to do that. Solomon just skins Havertz on the touchline, plays it into Pereira. Solomon again, quick feet, but Azpilicueta got to him this time. Havertz out to the touchline, and Madueke bursts in field, feeds it to Fofana. Havertz goes on, breaks one challenge but not the second. Robinson stayed with him and did the job. Ream couldn't, and it falls for Kenny Tete down by the dead ball line, and he attracts a challenge and a foul from David Fofana, and a free kick to Fulham in a defensive position, and the time ticks away. We've got 5 more minutes.
Tete done exactly the Premier League default position when you can't see a pass and you're in trouble, dive on the floor, and hopefully the referee bails you out.
We'll talk about Chelsea's lack of goals. Fulham haven't scored in their 2 previous games. They should have done at Newcastle. Alexander Mitrovic messed up a penalty. You may remember he hit it with his favoured foot onto his standing foot. It actually went in, but you can't kick it twice. Forward by Enzo Fernandez, little flick from Fofana doesn't come off. Ream sees to that. Down that left-hand side for Solomon, who's very quick, but Thiago Silva, maybe not as quick, but very intelligent. Had a couple of yard start. Enzo Fernandez forward. Really good pass. Sterling turns, halfway line. Out to the right-hand side, looking for Madueke, heads it immediately forward. He's exciting, maybe a little raw. Madueke hasn't got everything right tonight, but when he runs with the ball, There's an irresistibility about him, very left-footed, very quick, long legs. He'll take some stopping if he's running at you one-on-one.
And the Fulham fans singing what a waste of money. I'm not sure it's directed at one individual or probably 6 or 7, we've no idea.
Well, I think Chelsea might have to put up with that from time to time from opposing fans. Chilwell takes a throw, and it's still goalless at Stamford Bridge. Following us tonight, Adam Catterall and Carlton Cole will open up the sports bar and give you a chance to have your say on national radio. 03717 223344 is the number to have your say on tonight's football on the sports bar. Following us here live from Stamford Bridge tonight. Badiashile is on the ball for Chelsea. Ball to Enzo Fernandez. Thiago Silva just inside his own half. Enzo Fernandez still wanting the ball. Out to the left-hand side. Chilwell controls. Played back to Fernandez once more. Gallagher able to turn. Run away from Pereira and play to Thiago Silva. But that white Fulham blanket is smothering Chelsea. Chilwell unable to play it through Tete. He clears his lines and Fulham have a throw-in.
There's a lot of comparisons tonight, I think, Clive, between the two teams. Both have found it a little bit hard to score. Both have played okay in spells. But how this result will get viewed by the contrasting teams will be totally diverse, really, won't it? Fulham will think to themselves they've got a wonderful result, taken 4 out of 6 points off their local neighbours, and Chelsea will be disappointed, another 2 points dropped.
Yeah, it was the expectancy, the momentum, if you like, from the transfer window that they brought into this game. Todd Bowley and the co-owner Ben Adegbale were watching training at Cobham yesterday. I'm never quite sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think if they start to take training, then that's definitely a bad thing, but I think the owner is entitled to see his new horses on the gallops. And Graham Potter might be asking for a bigger dressing room if they keep signing players down at Cobham.
I remember encouraging my owner at Nottingham Forest to come and watch training, and the answer I was greeted with, Clive, was he don't get out of bed till 1.
Which again he's entitled to do.
Exactly that.
Well, we've only got a minute or so left of the 90 here before we see from the fourth official how much added time we've got. Haven't had too many stoppages in truth, but Fulham have got the chance of a counter-attack, and Mitrovic forward towards Harry Wilson wasn't the best of passes, neither's that towards Solomon from Mitrovic, and Azpilicueta heads away, and Madueke is on the ball and he'll run with it over the halfway line, guided up towards Fofana. Ream is there though, game's very open at the moment. Wilson's on the ball, edge of the centre circle. Tete coming forward for Fulham. Now Harrison Reed accelerating into the Chelsea half of the field, away from Havertz, where he would have done, but for the fact that Havertz caught him and conceded a free kick, which Fulham will be very grateful for, because he's in a good attacking position. They're about to introduce Carlos Vinicius and Tom Kearney for the closing moments, so both tall players. Interesting to see who they take off now, because they've got a chance to throw the ball high into the Chelsea penalty area. Well, Mitrovic is coming off. And that was obviously the original plan. So no goal for Alexander Mitrovic, still not scored against Chelsea. Didn't play in the game 3 weeks ago because of suspension. But Carlos Vinicius, who's coming on in his place, scored the winning goal in that game with a far post header, and the 6'3" Brazilian is going to come on again. And the other player to be replaced is Harrison Reed. Tom Kearney will appear as a Fulham substitute for the 21st time this season, the club captain. As I say, they're both 6-footers. And Fulham here have an opportunity, either Wilson or Pereira, to play the ball into the penalty area. It's going to be Pereira, and it's hooked in, and it's headed by Thiago Silva. More up than now. Enzo Fernandez helps it away. Kearney's first touches a misplaced volley, and then there's another volley coming in from Wilson, which is guided wide, and a goal kick it is to Chelsea. One or two hearts in mouths for a moment as he had a swing at it, but it was wide of the mark.
Yeah, we've just gone first minute of 5 minutes of injury time. If the winner's coming, Clive, it's going to be very, very late.
Very dramatic. It's not been a game of dramas. It hasn't been a game of great moments. One very good goal line clearance from Ream in the second half. A Havertz lob which hit a post late in the first half. But Fulham has looked as likely for most of the evening. Madueke fed into the edge of the penalty area, but Fulham have dealt with it again. Out of play for a throw-in which Chilwell takes, gets it back from Enzo Fernandez. Wilson's all over Chilwell and has dispossessed him. Was then held back, free kick to Fulham, just inside the Chelsea half of the field. Doesn't look as if they're going to throw men forward here with much abandon. I think right now Marco Silva is feeling that a draw would be a good result.
I think on their build for this season, this is a wonderful result, especially when you've just beaten Chelsea a couple of weeks ago. Sometimes the turnaround the game's so quick.
Particularly as they can make a strong case for saying they deserved it overall on the balance of play. As I say, Chelsea have come closest to scoring on two occasions, but Fulham have been their equals in most areas of the game. Although Sterling had just broken a challenge here from Kearney and gone forward, has been brought down by Wilson. It's going to be a yellow card for Harry Wilson. It was a rather cynical challenge because Sterling was moving through the gears and starting to accelerate towards the Fulham penalty area. Now Chelsea have a chance to get the ball into a danger area from a set piece with 3 of the 5 added minutes gone. It's about 20 metres outside of the penalty area, certainly outside the shooting range. But Ben Chilwell standing over it. It is left of centre, so he can get a bit of an angle on this. Fulham are going to make a change because Andreas Pereira is limping, so Levan Kurzawa is going to come on in his place for these closing moments. The French left back on loan from Paris Saint-Germain. Pereira is leaving the field as slowly as possible. It looked like me there for a moment. He's moving that smoothly, but he's limped off. Kurzawa's on in his place, and Chelsea have this free kick in an attacking position. Going to be Ben Chilwell to take it. Lofted in towards the head of Badiashile, hooked back across the face of goal by Thiago Silva. Turned behind for a corner kick. Still an opportunity here for Chelsea.
Yeah, they worked it pretty well, and Thiago's peeled off to the far post, but Chilwell didn't put enough loft on it, I don't think.
Chilwell will take this corner. Left-footed from the right-hand side. Badiashile and Thiago Silva are in the mix. It's curled in towards the head of Badiashile, trying to knock it down. Fulham have managed to smother it away. But Vinicius has been caught in possession. Sterling with a clip to the far post, but it's well gathered by Bert Leno. And the danger passes. And it's rather looking as if we're going to have a goalless draw here at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, Fulham breaking out their box there. Didn't want to just hump it up the pitch. Tried to play out. Lost it. And when Sterling got it, just right in front of us, just inside the box, opened his body out and faded it to the far post. But Leno had enough time to come back and deal with the danger.
Last of the added minutes. Azpilicueta forward towards Sterling. Turns 15 metres inside the Fulham half. Played back to Conor Gallagher. Square by Thiago Silva. Badiashile looks up. It's really got to go long soon. Chilwell now. 4-2 Madueke. He breaks in from the left-hand side. Played back again by Chilwell out to Enzo Fernandez, but very firm challenge coming in from Wilson. Madueke. Wilson's there again. Gallagher trying to force the issue forward with a dribbling run to the edge of the penalty area. Look to play it square, but Fulham have got men around the ball. One back by Fofana, down by the dead ball line. Chelsea still on the attack, but once more Wilson seeing out his defensive duties. Out of play for a Chelsea throw-in. Added time to the added time. Madueke with a chance to cross into the penalty area. Turned away as far as Fofana, but won back by Solomon, and Fulham clear their lines again. Maybe one last effort for Chelsea. Badiashile high into the penalty area, wildly overhit, behind for a goal kick, and that is that. It's finished goalless. Nothing to separate these near neighbours on Friday night on Talksport. Chelsea will look back on two moments in particular. Lobbed chance which Havertz had in the closing moments of the first half, which struck a post. And then a really big chance, probably the best chance of the night, for one of their young substitutes, 20-year-old David Datro Fofana, who coolly went round Diop after Leno had overcommitted, but Tim Ream got back there to clear his lines in the nick of time. Fulham are a top six side tonight. They are the top team in West London for now. Brentford can change that over the weekend. Chelsea are trailing their near neighbours, both of them. A point tonight lifts them above Liverpool into 9th in the table, but it's a disappointing final scoreline at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea fans, because it's Chelsea 0, Fulham 0.